All right, we're back here at Moment Machine, and we're going to do our part 2 video analysis of the dyno runs, the preliminary dyno runs we made before going to the 2019 Engine Master. So last year they did the Engine Master Challenge. And so one of the things real quick is that on these current dyno runs, when I brought it up to graph it, I didn't hit the standard corrected. So you're just going to be seeing measured power right now, but it doesn't really matter because we're looking at trends. We're just seeing how the parts affect each other and what things are going to go well together. So, you know, we can still see AF ratio being affected, power being affected, things like that. And I do correct it to standard, so you will see, you know, the final power that we left with. The reason I didn't go back and refilm all of it is, like I said before, we're looking for trends. And the important thing is that, you know, after we got home from the dyno, you know, we used the software and, you know, for a long period of time, we just really reviewed and we stared at the runs and we looked for things that would be complementary or things that would fix some of the problems. And it's a little bit strange, but you know, sometimes you just kind of get dealt the hand you're dealt. And you know, the Victor Jr. didn't really score well, right? It made the most peak power, which you would expect from the Victor Jr. And that's why we ran it. You know, we ran it to know how much power the engine could make. And the dual plane, you know, made the most early power on, like you would expect, and that's why we ran it. You know, we wanted to see what the extremes were in places so that we could try to figure out what we could put together. And you know, when we took off and we went to Ohio, the setup that we went back there with was a setup that we never actually ran in preliminary testing. You know, it was just from us really reviewing the way parts affected power, torque, air-fuel ratio shapes, all that stuff, that what led us to come to a final conclusion that we came to. And that's really, I guess, in this whole two-part series of videos, one of the things I'm trying to get you guys to pay attention to is just a way of thinking or a way of looking at stuff, you know, because some of you guys are watching this, you've never dynoed anything before. You know, some of you guys are watching, you know, have way more dyno experience than I do. So it's sort of looking at the parts we ran, the power it made, and the logic that we used to go back there. So the other thing is that, you know, we ended up running the Performer RPM air gap in the end. My wind accelerator that I had all the work into, I ended up putting a hole in it, and I had to weld it, and at that point it became illegal. But I had so much work, so much effort into it that, you know, the testing that we did with it was, some of it was just for my own knowledge, right? Because sometimes you do things that apply to not just the current scenario. You know, maybe 4, 5, 8, 10 years down the road, I'm going to do something, and that knowledge helps me. So, you know, with the Victor Jr. not scoring well and the wind accelerator basically being illegal because I had to weld up a hole I put in it, I only had one manifold. So, you know, we then, and on the second day, I'd already run the dual plane on the first day and knew what it did. So we were testing single planes on the second day, and I didn't even have it up there to try to make a final test with it. So we now kind of go into fighting mode and we start kind of going back through some things. So we're going to put on the tri-wise back on. Right now it's got the 4-to-1s, and you know, they don't appear to be doing it. So we're going to go back to the tri-wise and see how this full exhaust affects the tri-wise. We put the tri-wise back on, and I think we see the typical, you know, something's better to start, and then we got some bobbing and weaving as we go. Now, the 4-to-1s are definitely stronger at this moment in time across a bigger part of the band with the full exhaust hooked up. So we go down and we start looking at the air-fuel ratio curve. Not only the curve, but just rich and lean too. And I think one of the big things we start noticing right away is the tri-wise are just leaner by quite a bit now. So what the exhaust has done is it appears to have leveled the AF out before the tri-wise came on really lean, and then they kind of dove. I don't think that's a word. But now they appear to have more of a level AF, but they're just really globally lean. And pretty much everywhere but this particular spot, the tri-Y is leaner. So the one thing we decide to do here is go ahead and try to match up the fuel the best we can. You know, there's nothing we're going to be able to do about this. This piece of the curve is just, you know, like I said before, the sum of your parts. But it's leaner here, and a lot leaner here. So we go in to test 30 at that point, and we jet the tri-Y, get rid of that. And I think this is an honest comparison of the two. As honest, you know, as we can get. Tri-Ys are still lean at the bottom, but they have been the whole time. We get the AF to match up around 4,800 and hold very even out to about 5,700. For some reason, the tri-Y is now richer out here, but then it comes back and it gets pretty even at the end. So looking at this now, you know, I don't know that there's a clear and concise winner right now between the tri-Y and the 4-to-1. They're very close. You know, either one you use, unless you can start fixing some of these problems, unless you had the perfect header that was the, you know, accumulation or a combination of the two, you know, they're about a dead tie. So at that point, we just say, okay, you know, the sets of headers we have are the sets of headers we have. Let's just look at the other stuff, and we'll decide, you know, what we can do from there. So what we do at that point is we go ahead and stay with the tri-wise, mainly to just keep moving, because, you know, certain things are going to be cumulative and certain things will be more specific to certain parts of the tune. So I think from there we go ahead and we try our Wazoo spark plugs. You know, they're just better. Getting the spark plug in the combustion chamber shape in a more favorable scenario just makes more power. So obviously they start carrying better power, and we go, okay, well, that's a bonus. And then outside of that, one of the things we had left to try was, you know, this oil, I don't even remember what the oil was in here. You know, just probably some kind of 1540 or, you know, I don't remember, honestly. But we got some of the Super Wazoo Tricky oil from Amsoil. So we say, okay, well, we'll put that in and we'll give that a run. And, you know, the oil was worth, you know, something, going from a 1540 to the, I can't remember if it was a 520, 1030, something lighter, you know, something fully synthetic, you know, obviously was worth power. So, and hold on, this is also measured. This is not corrected, so we're gonna have to go fix that. Give me or observe power. So this is basically the end of the day at the dyno testing session 2, and this is where we left off. And the biggest thing we're going to go into on all of this is this is our final dyno session, but I think you'll notice if you paid attention to the competition, this particular format that we left in here is not how we ran it. In our final runs that were at the competition, you know, we went ahead and we took this information and started looking at it really hard. We brought some of this back, no doubt. You know, we definitely got some of this score back down here, but we still had something to really look at and work on at the bottom. Fact that you know, we're running a plenum manifold. You know, we made the decision on the dyno to run one of each header. We actually were using one 4-into-1 on one side of the engine and one of the tri-Ys on the other side of the engine, because we knew that, especially in the early game, there's with reverse fueling, runner charging, things like that, there, you know, there's going to be a large percentage of fuel in there that's just moving all around, getting beaten around by reversion and you know, runner interaction and incoming air and all things of that nature. And not only that, but the fact that, you know, with the dual plane manifold, 2 cylinders from each bank are going to one side of the carburetor. You know, that it became very apparent to us that we would be able to steady this out down here. And we didn't do it here. I wish we would have. I wish on this day we would have tried that. Now, I do have the tests here. Unfortunately, from the actual run at JE Pistons. And the problem with them is that for some reason the AF ratio is not compatible. I can't get the AF ratio to come up. I can look at the AF ratio if I look at the test specifically, but I can't get it to overlay with the ones from Westech. But this was a run, our final run from the Engine Master competition, and I think you can see, we can't see the AF of course, but we can see that the bottom end really came up. It's in blue here. I'm going to try to make this less busy. Hold on. Get rid of this. Okay, so let's get rid of 32. It's redundant. So this was our best tune in red, leaving the dyno at Westech, and this was our best run. It was a 20. This particular run in blue had a score of 2,519 points. Okay, I got this up, and this is the AF ratio of the run at JE Piston, and the winning average was 2,511. So obviously this run was good enough to win. I think guys who follow the competition know that we were chasing a bad spark plug, and we actually, I can possibly go into that at a later date, but you know, we were chasing a bad spark plug, and out of our 7 runs, 3 or 4 of them were down a hole, and we were kind of struggling. You know, at that point we weren't in tuning mode or trying to get it better. We were just trying to get 3 decent runs off to get a score. But we just ran out of time, man. The 25 minutes in that room goes fast, especially when your entire plan gets thrown out the window and you're in diagnosis mode and you're not in tuning mode. From 2 different dynos, 3,000 miles apart, you know, were in the 25-19 range. But you know, the day is what it is, right? Like Blair, Patrick, I mean, their team was super good, and they went into the dyno and they earned it. You know, I mean, those guys, you know, and he even told me, you know, their first scores, you know, first runs weren't as good as ours, and I could see it. Like, those guys were working on that carburetor hard, and you know, they had their A game, they had their team there. I mean, they definitely earned it. They worked hard in that dyno room, and the engine ran really good. So